Jojo is showing edge abstraction in this. Frank Frazetta showing a more fine art style, and he's generally associated with this. On the midline is, it feels like two midlines over there because of the lighting. That's abstraction. Here too, Sorayama. Is this the skin of the breast, or is it the skin of the nipple where the snake comes out? The part trapped in between that. These are cases of abstractions. James Martin does them well. So here, this one we can clearly see. He's indicated a few edges. Abstraction happens through indication with minimal indication, almost like an interesting way of indicating edges over here. Like this is supposed to be complete, but when he does just that and that, that is a form of the concept happening, so that if there were an areola over here and there were a shadow going this way, then this part that comes out over here would be enough to indicate the border of the areola. With so it gives freedom to the brain to complete it how it wishes. If it were, this is, it could be milder than this. So if it were milder than like that, then it gives a leeway for the brain to use some imagination and think of it how it wants. So then when mine would like to complete it this way, shape like this. Another way would be like this, or even like this, like a big coverage. It can be like this. So we're imagining forms for the areola. It's like it's playful. It's interesting. We could have it shaped like an in various ways. Like this one looks like a sparrow, like a pigeon actually, like a peace symbol. So by supplying targets that are incomplete, we are supplying multiple targets to the brain to pick and choose. If this were rendered complete, more with a pencil, then it acquires more completion. It gives more direction to where you want the direction of the where you want the person to imagine his imagination to go. So then from here it could go like this. So now this is the opening. So it is. This is complete. This is the opening, where we could get creative. It could be like this, or it could be like this, a small. It could be like this. So we like to imagine in creative ways. Subtle value helps direct the imagination towards that mode of thinking. When this was just like no ton, black and white, 1 and 0, value or no value, then it was less interesting. By indicating a little bit of value, we are giving it more opening. It opens up for deeper insight. So then, naturally the viewer may begin to imagine value-based imagination. So like this, if we show him this, then he will begin to see this everywhere. So in this, he'll begin to see things. If we indicate it with something else, maybe he'll see it in a different way. Over here, this is shape design, but this is also an abstraction happening, in that this whole thing may also be interpreted as the areola. Another person might interpret just this much as the areola. The same person might interpret this one and then this one as the areola at different times. So that like a get options with choice. One might say this is also the shape of the areola, like this whole thing over here, like this, and this is the breast. So it will go up this way, and then if we direct the viewers towards completion this way with outlines, then he may begin to complete this too. Then that is the shape. Other shapes can be found too. This one could be one. There's interesting abstraction. This same concept is happening with a navel over here. An incomplete line, a dotted line, and then this with some value in here, some stuff in here. There's rigid graphic quality given to it too. That I wouldn't call it graphic quality. I'd call it rigid. There's a rigidity given to the form that creates the abstraction. Here, the viewer is their choices. It could be this way. It could be subtle and fading, the preference. So now he's given leeway for the expanse of it. he is this is giving responsibility to the viewer to create something beautiful, um, create beautiful shapes. And then since there's texture here, we begin to notice texture here, and that carries over on this side too, texture. So we get an opening to visualize as we please, as we find tasteful. It is a non-confining way of involving. This might be interpreted as a nipple too. And this might be seen as the areola. One might see this as part of the areola too. So the brain often it has to be seen rather than diagrammatically representing it. So my job is also to find it in it, to imagine the areola. So this could be the shape of it over the expanse of the form. So this is happening thanks to abstraction, not completing the edge that leads to that opening to start imagining it that way. This is this incomplete flatness is also an abstraction. One could complete the dress in various ways. One could say that the fabric is being swept this way, so that there's a fabric, like a Greek statue that's an addition to the garment, to the outfit. It can be interpreted as a hand. And this would be the so it gives the opportunity to think in various targets for the edge of the stomach. Then within these patterns we can feel the contour of the tummy. With scarlet, the highlight is creating the abstraction. Could be interpreted as an areola. It is in fact interpreted as one, which is what catches the attention of if this were a thumbnail, this is what creates interest. So that even though it is not there, the inversion, the conceptual aspect of this one could be interpreted as 1 2, and then this one could be 1 2. One could interpret this as a large and as an oversized nipple, and this would be the areola, and the other part would be the breast. This abstraction is happening in the brain. So this is inversion. What would normally be darker is inverted in value, but that does not matter. We can have a shape that is inverted in value, and it can still be recognized. So if we have let's say a dog, either ways the shape is conveyed. It could be a white dog on a black background, or a black dog, but dogs come in both colors, white and black. Areolas generally come darker than the skin. That happens with leaves too. Leaves, if you shapes tend to work that way. So a green leaf, when seen against a black background, appears to be lighter than the background, and the shape is perceived, and a green leaf seen against a lighter background, still the shape is perceived. So there's no problem with the brain being able to interpret it that way. Here this could be interpreted as the tip of the areola catching light, or it could be one of these buttons. So abstraction is when there's a separation between what is seen and what is felt at one time. So at one time it can be seen as an areola, but it feels in one context it it can be seen as a button, but it feels like an areola. In another context, it might be the other way around. It is seen as in areola, but it really feels like a button. It's happening here too. Is this a this is seen as if this is seen as a nipple, it feels like a button. If it's seen as a button, it feels like a nipple. This edge abstraction happening that is allowing that leeway to open up for completion. So completion can happen in imaginative ways. Could be interpreted as a skirt wrapping around, and the border of the skirt could be a target seen at one time. It could be over here. So both is happening at the same time. There is no skirt and is a skirt at the same time. So how can that be? In this region, the subject is visualizing a skirt, but when the eyes go up, he's visualizing a different snapshot of the figure, so that it's multiple instances of the same person happening at once. This it feels like a bra, a proper bra, but we can see that it is a tan line, and we could see it the other way around too. We can see this is a tan line, but it feels like a proper panty. So we're visualizing configurations of the person in the same we are able to enjoy various feelings. We think more about the person. What kind of if this were one, what style would it be? What fabric would it have? Would it be what style, fabric? What is the personality of the person who would? So for this person, what her preferences would be, and what the gestures of the body would be in motion, and so various scenes, and it tells a story. When dressed and when undressed, and in what way, what rhythms of movements happen, and almost like a subject is involved in a relationship. This feels like a fantasy style metallic pasties, like we see in Frazetta Vallejo Vargas.